And welcome everybody. Today we're looking at shoe photography by some of the Project 52 students. We're going to deconstruct some of these shots and talk a little bit about how and why we shoot shoes and some specific things that you got to consider and some things that can go by the wayside. First of all, if you're shooting very, very expensive shoes, super high level shoes, you can do just about anything. In fact, we've seen shoe ads without even having the shoes in it, but we're talking about the highest end. When you're selling regular shoes, between $500 down to $100 or $50, that type of shoe, there's some things that we have to keep in mind. We try to show four facets of the shoe whenever we can. The height of the heel. It makes no difference if it's a high heel or a low heel. The height of the heel is important to show. We show the toe of the shoe, whether it's closed or open. If it's a man's shoe, whether it's a square toe or a pointed toe. We try to show the insole if there's something special about the insole. And we show the sole of the shoe if there's something special here. Now, where does this happen a lot? The sole of the shoe? Well, that's like sports shoes, running shoes. The bottoms have all those designs in them. They're really, really an important part of this. These women's shoes have different types of soles, slip proof, or they have little lines on them, or in the case of a certain brand, they're red. There's all kinds of things to show. You don't have to show everything, but you should try to show as much as possible. You'd also have any kind of ornament. Now, this shot is a little bit low for me. I think Ben could have come up just a little bit more to see this, and we would still have seen the height of the heel. Okay, the fabric, the type of material that it's made out of, also very, very important. So you can see this kind of a suede-looking thing. You can see how the light reflects from the suede, because suede is, while it's not shiny like patent leather, it still has its own shine, like satin. It has its own soft shine, and you can see that the highlight is taking a very slow trip to the real tone of the shoe, which is this red, and again, the transition is very slow, so we know it's a very soft, diffuse subject. You can see a little bit of a shine right here, letting us know that the front part of the shoe is a little more patent leather, maybe not totally patent, but a more leather material than the side of the shoe. See how this is so flat here? This has a highlight on it. That tells our brain what it's made of. Here's how Ben did the shot. Really nice job, and something that you have to remember. He's using a softbox here, and the thing about a softbox is every photographer, well, not every photographer, but some photographers think that you have to aim the softbox at something. Well, you can use the edge of the light, which is what Ben's doing here. He's using this light down below the softbox to just lightly to skim these shoes rather than to blast them directly with it, because as he stated, when he blasted directly, it just was not as attractive as this very soft, subtle light. This is called the feather of the light. So the light is, it's going out this way and it's going out this way. This down here, this is sort of incidental light, and that's what he's using on it. It really, really turned out very well. He's got a snoot over here to drive some light straight into the shoe, so we can see that insole, because this is probably not lighting that insole up very well. We'll go back and look at the shoe in just a second here. So, sometimes the light doesn't aim right at the subject. Sometimes it aims just a little bit above or a little bit to the side. Let's go look at the shoe, and you can see that there's some light coming up into here. Very subtle. You can see the highlight on the toe of the shoe. You can see something up in here. You know, this big soft light over here is just brushing. Look at the shadow that it's creating there. It just opens this up in here a little bit. Nice shot by Ben Anderson here in Phoenix. Greg Kindred is a Kansas City product tabletop shooter and did a really nice job with these steampunk boots. What's important? Well, in steampunk, the heel is important and the toe is important. These are boots. Showing the insole is probably not going to work, right? The bottoms of the shoes didn't matter. What mattered most was all this leather work and the gears down the side. This is what mattered. I love the fact that Greg went out and found himself a gear to match the gears on the steampunk boots. Really, really nicely done. Notice the light. Got a highlight here. Got a highlight here. And this boot falls off into darkness that way. But isn't it great? It falls off to darkness in front of a light area. And what happens when we do that is we create dimension, because our brain tells us there's something else back there. Otherwise, this would be go to dark and it would be dark back there. One of the things I caution the Project 52 photographers about is be careful lighting from the front. People, got it. Product, things, food, maybe you need to rethink that. Front lighting is not impossible, but it's more of a stylistic conceit to do it than it is just a workaday method. Okay, Greg's great boots. Let's take a look at how he did these. Pretty fancy. He's got a beauty dish up here with a grid and a one-stop neutral density filter, so he could get it in close without it being too high, too bright. A gridded speed light here to go into, you can see where it's directing. It's going into that part of the boot to light it up, because this is his main light. 40 by 12 gridded strip box coming this way across. That creates that highlight and that highlight. This creates that highlight down the front of the shoe, that light down the front of the shoe, because that would be in the shadow from this one. And he's got a snooted light here on the gears on the front boot, just a snooted light to open up that gear right there. Those gears right there getting a little bit special lighting. White card lights up the gears on this side of the boot. White card here for coming up into this part of the boot. It's really, really fairly complex lighting. Simply done if you just realize that everything reflects, and these boots reflect. I love the strings hanging down in the negative space. I think it's just really, really cool. Really great shot by Greg Kindred in Kansas City. GregKindredPhoto.com. John McCallister. Are you going to agree with me that these are fairly shiny shoes? Well, of course they're super shiny shoes. Look at the transition. Specular to true value. The true value of the black shoe is black. That's the true value of the shoe. That's a specular. And look at the transition. Sharp as a knife through here. These are very highly shiny shoes. And of course, John is using the shine as a compositional element. The really cool thing about John McCallister, and he's a really, really good photographer in the UK, is John takes all the details all the way to the end. Notice the little rim light here on this shoe. Look at that little rim light right there. John's not letting the sole just wrap around in the black and disappear. He's not going to do it. He's going to keep something on the edge of these all the way around so that these shoes, look at that little bit of light there, coming right off the surface. These shoes are lit and not disappearing into the black of the background. So we've got this super shiny, glossy highlight creating a compositional element, which also shows us and reminds us how shiny the shoes are. How did he do it? Two soft lights with two soft boxes, one on this side, one on this side, and then from the back he's got a little strobe, just a reflector, just not a soft box, just a reflector, and that is giving us these little edges here. And this is coming off the floor, which is the whiteboard. Whiteboard itself bouncing up into the shoe right here and keeping everything alive. Really beautiful shot by John McCallister. But he wasn't done. He grabbed a couple of these kind of funky platform heels with the cheetah pattern. The inside of the shoes were not spectacular. The bottom is not terribly spectacular. But really is spectacular is the platform, which was very important, and the height of the heel. So he went for the design and the height of the heel, and the platform as the basis for it. Simple shot, nice like catalog-y type of shot, and that's how he did it right there. Got big white panels to each side, a 40-degree grid coming down right on the top of this shoe here. Right, actually, no, I'm sorry, no. The grid's going to the front of the black paper here, and we'll go back and we'll take a look what that grid's doing. And then back here, he's got a green and a yellow and a red Speedlight gel going into a dark gray background here, and that gives us this really, really nice pattern of color back here. Let's go back to the shot. Little bit of a, I think a little bit of the crease showed there, which he just took out in Photoshop. And then the light up front is doing this. Just this right here. That's all it's doing, is this little area in front. So he didn't want the front to just go black. He wanted to keep the shoes kind of framed by light. Really, really nice job. John McCallister in the UK. Carla McMahon's in South Africa. And she shot these shoes, and look, notice what we have. We've got the heel, I'm sorry, the toe. We've got the heel, the height of the heel. We've got this beautiful inside silver part of it. And of course, the whole ankle strap thing is a big part of this shoe. So it's shown beautifully here. She created a little bit of a vignette, a little bit of a story here. Get the shoes way up front, and the wine bottles and the blouse and the chair way in the back, letting those go dark and featuring the shoes. Really beautifully lit too, by the way. Notice the little rim light all the way around these shoes. Keeping it popping from the back. That's pretty cool. Also notice that there's no bright speculars here, but there are in the insole. Really bright speculars. This is silver metallic. This is suede. Suede is a brushed, diffuse subject. It does not give us sharp speculars. It gives us soft, true tone values. Let's take a look at how Carla shot this. This is pretty nice. Softbox up here, and a Godox with an 8200 with a reflector, just giving us a point light from the side, and a strip box Godox 8400, giving us a nice soft light from this side. They're oppositional, as you can see, this angle, the camera shooting this way, and then the Ellen Chrome at the top is just giving an overall ambient feel to it, and also lighting this up. It's lighting up the floor. We're getting that nice shadow. You see the real pretty shadow here coming from the shoes? That's coming from the 8200. The 8400 over here is just really filling in these shoes. Otherwise, there would be no side to the shoe. It would not be lit. There'd be no underside. It would not be lit. We have to provide that lighting from this side, making sure that it's not as powerful as the light coming from over here. This is a soft box. That's going to make it a little bit softer. This is a Godox with a reflector, just a reflector, more of a point source light, giving us really, really nicely done highlights and shadows. Eleanor found also some very interesting shoes. The bottoms of the shoes, we get to see the tread here. Not going to actually see the bottom because there's too many other things that are important. We can't show everything without making it look convoluted, etc. But we've got the height of the heel, we've got the toe, we've got the under. We see this little sawtooth thing, and we've got the real pretty color on the inside of the shoes, which Eleanor then borrowed for the background, and the feature, which is of course the straps here and this big metal clasp thing that really shows how the shoe looks at from the side, and this little detail which is nicely done because Eleanor lit it from the side. So we've got this beautiful highlight down the side of the leather. We see the context of the little cracks here in the texture of the leather. We see it all here in context. The shoe bends away from the light, and we put these little guys here right on that light, and they pop so much better than if they were lit, the shoe was lit on both sides, they would get lost. She just brought them out, perfectly brought them out. We can see the texture of the leather. We know that it's not real shiny like patent leather, but that it has a nice tooth to it, and it feels good. And Eleanor did a really, really good job with these. Here's how she did it. Hung one shoe, set the shoe here, big boxes from the side, and a light above the top. I do not believe there's a light coming through this scrim at the top. I think it's just there so that this light lights these guys up. Got this one, and they're lighting the top. This white card that's going across here, and that's just keeping light all the way around. She's not adding fill cards to the front of it. And the reason is you've got to have some shadow area to show the texture of it. If you put something in a light tint, you're just going to lose the texture. It's not going to be very, very appealing. Graham Kite's got a nice shot. You're going to like this. Graham created a piece of art with these two patent leather, bright red, super glossy shoes. We see the toe, we see the height of the heel, we see the instep. The sole, not that interesting, so he created this candlestick with red and silver all the way around it. Very, very nice, beautifully done. Notice how sharp these highlights are in the transition area. From the highlight to the true value of the shoe, which is the true tone, which is red. That's a white highlight. That's not really what the shoe looks like. That transition tells us how shiny it is. There's no doubt in your mind that this is a much shinier shoe, much shinier than Carla's. And that has to do with the highlights and the reflectance of them. And Graham did a really awesome job. Graham's an Australian photographer, Project 52 photographer. Finding all these red things to balance this out, it turned out really, really nice. This is how he did it. He's got a couple lights from the side, things hanging from his little device above here, and just kept it very simple and let the highlights of the shoe speak for themselves. Just let the shoe pop for themselves. Isn't that pretty? Lovely shot. Judy Doherty is a food and product shooter in California, in the Bay Area. She went with pastels here. Shot a lot of different shoes in this set. You'll see the shoes in the behind the scenes are a little bit different, but the set remains the same. We're seeing the very glossy silver metallic type of shoe. We see the height of the heel. We see the toe of the shoe, and we see the insole of the shoe. The sole itself is sort of hinted at by the inside of the heel and that little bit of wood running down the side, so we kind of know what that looks like. But this was the most important part. Really, really, really pretty. Nice, bright white background. Judy is a master with light. This is her setup. She's got lights coming from here. She's gelled orange here. There's a gelled red from this side giving the pink. And then there's a light behind the whole thing. You can see it lighting up here on this. I believe it's back here coming down on the back of this thing to make it even more pastel. You can see what's going on there. Very, very cool. And last but not least is Rose Nunez up in Oregon, Eugene, Oregon. These are, fabulous, shiny, super shiny plastic or patent leather shoes. Notice the transition. Notice the blues and the yellows, height of the heel, the toe, the instep, the toe again, and then Rose found some paint to mix in here with the shoes to really make it kind of fun. Pure white background, but it's all about the highlights. All about the highlights and the color. And how did Rose do this? Well, she did it this way. This is a different shot where she's got the red paint around the heels. but the lighting is the same. Two soft boxes, one a little bit brighter than the other. A fabric diffusion with a LED on the top to come right down. And just basically a white card with a white card behind it. And when you get that much light on it, the crease disappears. You don't even see where the two cards come together. It's so bright that it just goes away. And the angle also, the angle of Rose getting right down on the board, shooting straight across at the heel is pretty cool. So that's a look at some shoes shot by some of the Project 52 members, and I hope you enjoyed them, and I hope you got something from them. We have Rose Smith in Eugene. We have Judy Doherty over in the Bay Area. Graham Kite down in Australia. Eleanor in the Bay Area. Carla McMahon in South Africa. John McCallister and his men's shoes over in the UK. Greg Kindred in Kansas City. And Ben Anderson in Phoenix, Arizona. Hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned. If you like the content I'm creating here at YouTube, let me know. Hit the subscribe button, and we'll keep doing it. We've got a whole lot of backlog to do this year, and I hope it keeps you entertained. My information is down below, and I look forward to hearing from you. All right. See you next time.